with some of the actions. So take the example which was about power. I mean, it's a good example, I think, in the sense that people just jump into it. There's some kind of a wagon effect that, okay, there's a shortage of power in the country and therefore everybody wants to put a power plant. People who don't even know the difference between a kilowatt hour and a kilowatt. And people will do it, but you see the problem is that they cannot evaluate the risk. What is the risk of doing this thing? What is the risk of oversupply? What is the risk of government not being able to pay? And I think many times they will just say that, look, if the government were to provide us a guarantee, that is good enough. But the question really is, how good is government's guarantee? Would the government have the ability to keep on making the service payments or the payments to the IPP? I mean, just to give just an example for you. I'm not trying to target you, but I'm just saying it. So it's abilities or the lack of capacity on both the public and the private sector side, but certainly more on the public sector side, which is a problem.
I'm a layman and my question is a layman's question. And there are two questions, A, B. One, we are having recession all over the world. Can you see world coming out of recession? And if so, when? And number two, connected question is, there is a huge unemployment in USA and many other developed countries. If people don't get jobs, young men particularly, what will they do? Can it lead to any violence?
When the world is going to come out of the recession, I have absolutely no idea. I think eventually it will. It always does. So it's going to happen. I think people are saying there is already. And as I said, I have my doubts about the whole thing, but there's a new asset bubble coming up in Hong Kong, for example, and people have talked about it. So when is that going to burst? I don't know. You know, when people spend $54 million to buy a single apartment, I think there's something wrong with the picture. So I absolutely no idea, but I think eventually it's really going to come out of it. How bruised we are when we come out of it, that's it. Unemployment is a huge issue. It's a really big issue around the world. Important statistics, again, I'm sure India is not very different where you come from. But if you look at Middle East, statistics are that 60% of the population is below 20 years old. And those are the reality, and those are the numbers. And the question really is, how do they find jobs? Can there be economic activity? If let's take the example of Egypt. If there is about 1.5 million workers coming to the market every year, can you keep on supplying the jobs that way? And answer is it's going to lead to social unrest. And I think India is a great example of that. You know, in the last elections, what happened was that the economy is developing at 6, 7, 8%. A lot of people actually felt that they have not benefited from it. Simply that. So the question is redistribution of wealth. How do you affect the unemployment? Those, in my opinion, certainly would require a tremendous amount of growth in the countries to be addressed. And in the short term, the answer is it is a problem.
Very informative and very interesting interaction. Good quality questions was asked, and you very ably replied them. I think we are quite satisfied. I get the pleasure and honor to invite Honorable Fourth President of our Federation of Councils to kindly give memento to the respected guest speaker, Mr. Moss.
I would like to thank the IFC for accepting my invitation to participate with us today. And you, sir, for an excellent presentation, very informative, very interesting, and your opening the door for us regarding trade, and we will be contacting you on that in the near future. It gives me pleasure to present this as a token of appreciation.
Thank you very much.
For the second session, subcommittee meeting, it's my immense pleasure and honor to invite Honorable Makai, Vice President of FICAR, to address on FICAR African region.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I'm very happy to address you on Africa this day. We had a meeting towards the end of the year in December, and at the meeting we recorded the presence, active presence of 8 countries with a potential for about 4 more, in the immediate future. We set up a short-term, medium and long-term goals, and in the short term, we would like to reclaim, so to speak, those countries that were once active and who have gone into recession. We want to bring them back. Yes. That should not be so difficult because they were active before. Countries like Egypt, Botswana, and then Mauritius. These 3 are the immediate targets, and we started working on them. Egypt, 12, 15 years ago, was a very active member, and then I think something went wrong with the leadership, and we lost Egypt. We tried to get Egypt back into the fold. We also have a peculiar problem with Mauritius. Mauritius took sides. I don't know if it is the entire core or maybe the leadership, maybe it's just a game. Developed sympathy for Cashel, our favorite grandson, and developed a lot of sympathy for Cashel and took sides. Now that the dispute is over, I'm reaching out to Mauritius. We try to roll back the polling power to try and get them back to where they belong. So Egypt, Mauritius, and then Botswana. We are working very hard on Botswana, and this we hope to do in the short term.